Welcome to the Journeyman Cave, a podcast where we meet and chat with some of boxing's most seasoned road warriors, hosted by Mark Shakespeare and Chris Scarfe.
Welcome back to the Journeyman Cave, everybody. A bit of a bonus episode this week as we come towards the end of 2024. As the title card of this episode says, we are going to give a Journeyman of the Year award. That was your idea, Shaky.
Well, we had to do, mate, didn't we? They didn't really run round this area, in central area, and, they don't get recognised enough, and they used to give one to an away fighter, but the last 2 or 3 years I ain't really seen one knocking about properly.
No, I remember seeing Poochie getting one a couple of years back, 2 or 3 years ago. So, yeah, your idea, we've even bought a trophy.
We have, an unofficial.
Oh, yes, by no means are we an official board. It's only a bit of fun. I mean, if you disagree with us, by all means, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please do.
Like I said, we're just going off our own thoughts, and there's no right or wrong here. But just before we get into the people that we considered as contenders for this award, just a few other things to mention this year. Obviously, I know we've not done as many episodes. We were a really busy summer, didn't we? But one thing to mention, Matt Hall has retired. Any words to say about Matt?
Yeah, you've got to give a mention, haven't you? I mean, Matt's been a stalwart for best part of a decade, to be quite honest. And, he's finished this year. And I've noticed he's getting to his football a bit with his kids and that now. And, as you get older, these injuries and that, they take a bit longer to heal, don't they, and stuff. And, life gets in the way and stuff. But the guy is an absolute legend. Pleasure to meet him in Barnsley, and I would love to get him on the show one time if you're listening, Matt. And I wish you happy retirement, and to go out with 128 fights, that's amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah, as Mark says, Matt, give us a shout. We'd love to have you on sometime. Any other mentions of people's, many more retirements this year?
No, I think that's about it, really. I mean, obviously, from what I know, there's Jamie Quinn who hasn't officially retired yet, so we're not going to get into that. But a bit of breaking news here. I have been in touch with Jamie, and we're going to go over and see him next year.
Oh, lovely.
So we'll get we'll see if he's gone for good or not, or whether he's missing it and decides he's going to come back. But no, just Matt Hall at the minute, mate. And, it's been a pleasure to watch him over the last few years, and you can guarantee any shows that were going round, big or small, you could guarantee that Matt were on them, and I'm very proud of him, and I wish him all the best in retirement.
Yeah, me as well, mate. So, moving on a sadder note, unfortunately, we have lost a couple of people this year as well. Not so long ago, Carl Allen passed away, and very recently, Gennady Krajewski also. And you know what, mate, I was thinking about this not long ago, that one day we would talk about someone that we knew. I mean, Carl Allen, I never met him. I don't know if you did or if you spoke with him. But Gennady, we did. Bumped into him a couple of times, didn't we? What a character. And everybody you meet who's met him will say that, I'm sure. I mean,
every room that Gennady were in, he just lit up. He was an absolute amazing guy. He'd do anything for you. And, again, we saw him a few times, so friendly. On a funny note, I've never known an accent like it, to be quite honest. He's the only guy I know who could ever Lithuanian twang with a scouse in every sentence. He was an absolute legend, and it's an absolute shame what's happened to him. And I will say this before, if anyone's struggling, please reach out. There's always help out there. And it's like you said, it's a silent killer, isn't it? If you looked at Gennady and you saw him, you think he was absolutely, life O'Reilly. You know what I mean? We're laughing and joking every time you saw him. And he's the last person I think could, ever think about doing something like this with suicide. But, it just proves it's a silent killer, and we can all be suffering in silence. So, I'm heartbroken I'll never get to everyone on this show, because I spoke to him many times, and I know he always wanted to come on the show because he wanted to tell the story about when he first popped up in this country. He just landed with just £10 in his pocket and nothing else. And he's gone from that to building himself, a successful life over in Liverpool. I know he did a lot of security work and coming over here boxing, and like again a bit like Matty Hall at the time. You can guarantee 76 fights, mate. He were always there, wasn't he? He loved it. He just used to message. I know he used to little laugh with Kevin Marie from what his manager, and just says, "Where this week, boss?" That's the kind of guy he was. He was just so laid back, and he'd do out for anybody. And I just, I hope he's at peace, and I'm going to miss you, mate. And I can only pass my best on to, all his family and his 2 little daughters as well. And I know there's a Just Giving page out there that's been going around, and I'm sure you'll be able to find that on the socials, on Kevin Marie's page. And if you do want to make a little donation, I think it'd all be much appreciated. And then, obviously, as well, as you mentioned earlier, touched on an absolute legend in the sport in Carl Allen. He passed away, sadly, suddenly, earlier on this summer as well. And that were a shock to us all. And again, can't remember much about Carl's career. Didn't see him very much, a little bit before my time-wise. But, the guy went in with everybody. A bit like Delroy Spencer at the time. His bag were always ready to go. And he were there every time. Going in with the likes of Duke McKenzie, and Martin Geffen and stuff like that. And absolute legend. It's sad. But like you said, unfortunately, these things happen, don't they? And I think it's down to people like me and you to give these guys a shout out and never let us forget them.
Yeah, absolutely. We should say, we're not going to go into too much detail about it here, because we are planning, to do an episode each on those 2 guys. They deserve, it's more than the least they deserve. So look out for that in the new year. We've got to get some bits together before we can do them.
Yeah, there will be a tribute for both of them in the new year.
Yes, definitely. So let's move on then to this Journeyman of the Year award 2024. Before, again, another stalling, keep stalling, mate. We want to do some special mentions for people who've, well, as far as we can tell, and again, if anybody can correct us if we're wrong, Dale Arrowsmith, I think, from what we can find, has had the most fights this year.
Yes.
26.
He's picked it with 26, hasn't he?
Yes. That's 133 in total.
Wow.
And he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
Oh, he's loving it. He absolutely loves his job. He only put a post out a couple of days ago saying he's no signs of stopping just yet. So the way Dale's going, if he carries on like that, he'll be at 200 before.
I know. That's 1 fight every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
on average. That's bonkers.
He's very, very busy. Like you said, there's 3 guys that we've picked out.
Yeah,
and it's 3 guys that 3 lads who everybody knows, on the circuit in the away corner, and you can guarantee they're going to be out no matter what.
Well, before we've not mentioned them yet. So yeah, the other 2, just behind Dale on 25 fights, the Jakes, Jake Pollard and Jake Osgood. Obviously, we know a lot about Jake, good mate of ours. 25 fight, and he's 84. He's on. He met us when he was on around 40 fights. What's that? Just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, every other week nearly.
Oh God, I'm in contact with Jake quite a lot, and 1 minute he's not fighting on a Thursday, and he's getting ready to go out with Roman on a weekend, and then next minute he's off travelling with Roman to somewhere like Belfast or something on the Friday. That's the kind of guy he is, and he loves it. He's always in shape. Loves the game, loves the sport, and I think Jake's a little bit more special this year because, as well, he's had 25 fights this year, not even being stopped in any.
Yeah, that was remarkable.
So, sometimes, it happens. We know when we were in Callum Simpson, Dale got stopped with a guy who was too heavy, and he got stopped again last week with a bit of a hand injury, I think, as well. I think he did the right thing with Christmas coming round. You got to spend it with your daughter, and, sometimes it's not worth the hassle of doing more permanent damage to yourself.
No.
But, yeah, obviously Dale does tip the list amazingly with 26 fights in a year.
Yep. Dale's on 26, Jake Pollard on 25, and Jake Osgood on 25. That's 64 in total for Jake Osgood.
Yeah, and Jake Osgood as well. If I'm not mistaken, Jake Osgood had a little break. I think he had a month or so off as well. And he's been stopped once or twice as well. So to get the 25 in as well, he must have been out virtually every week in some months. So, and again, another stalwart who just loves doing what he just loves the sport. And I think the bit of a pattern with these three here, they do absolutely adore the sport. You know, they live it, they breathe it, these three. And I don't think at the minute they could live without it. You know what I mean? They want to be out every week, they're buzzing. I think if they have got a week off, they get fed up. So I think, obviously, them three, with your stats, mate, as well, though, you found those two out, and I just got Jake Osgood in there as well. I think them three just, I mean, that's a lot of fights in a year. I mean, there's only 52 weeks in a bloody year.
Exactly. And you've got to take into account, obviously, Christmas. You know, you take that time off and what have you. So,
of course.
Yeah, incredible work by all three. And, you know, if we have missed anybody, please let us know. We did our best. So then, Journeyman of the Year 2024. So we narrowed it down to sort of 6 people.
We had to, didn't we? Because we were thinking at first round about 3, weren't we? But there were these 6 lads. Well, these five lads and 1 missus.
Yep.
1 female. We couldn't really split these. I think all 6 of these needed a mention, didn't you? We both agreed between ourselves. So we have got a winner at the end of it.
We have. We're going to do it in reverse order, so stick around. But so, yeah, of these 6, there's 3 with same results, shall we say. All 3 of these got 2 wins and a draw this year. And so starting with Shane Smith, who's, I didn't realise until I was looking at his record, he only had his debut in February.
Yeah.
And since then he's gone on to have 10 fights and he's won 2 and drawn 1 of all them.
Yeah, well, we spoke to Adam Harper, who trains him and manages him, and obviously started in February, like you said. And he said, you better watch out for him, Matt. He's going to cause a few stirs, is Shane, this year. And I had the pleasure of doing his corner at the Metrodome a few months ago. And like you said, 10 fights this year from February, 2 wins and a draw. It's he's going to be one of them people nobody's going to want to fancy facing. He looks like he wants to get a win every so often, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, we had to mention him, didn't we, in such a short space of time. We had to put him in the list.
We did. So, and again, alongside that, Tom Ramsden also got 2 wins and a draw. He had 14 fights this year. You see, this was a funny one. I was looking up at Tom's record. And in his first 4 fights, he won 3 and drew them. But that was between the years of sort of 2015 to 2018. And then there's a gap. And then he came back sort of late last year. And he's gone on to have another, he's done 10 fights in that time. And, again, lost all but these 3, the 2 wins and the draw.
Yeah, well, obviously, he got back in with Matty Taig, Matty Taig. I apologise if I got your second name wrong there, Matty, mate. I apologise. But, yeah, I'm in contact with Matty a few times as well this year, and we have a little talk about Tom. And, again, he's causing problems. And I know he's had these 2 wins and a draw this year, but I also know a couple of occasions he's been a 38-39 reverse when he's lost, which, that usually means he could have gone either way there, really.
Yeah.
And he's had some tough fights this year. But, yeah, he's also been very, very successful this year in what he's done. And obviously he's come back and he's gone on the road with Matty. And he couldn't be ignored, could he?
No, absolutely not. And the third to round off this trio is Vaida Masiokate. Now, I again apologise if I'm butchering your surname. Lithuanian female fighter, the only female fighter in this top 6. She's had 8 bouts, won 2, drawn 1. And she won 2 on the trot in the middle of the year.
Against very good girls as well that she beat as well. And another one who'll just step in at any time she needs it. And I don't like to swear much, but she takes no shit. She goes in there and she wants it. And like you said, to win 1's good, but to win 2 on the bounce, it takes some doing.
You have to wonder if the phone went a bit quiet after that, maybe for a few weeks. I don't know.
Yeah. But obviously she also got a draw this year as well.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, she had 42 fights now.
In total?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
So she's busy.
Yeah, definitely.
And she's mean and she means business. And another one we had to get in there. We could not leave her out.
No. Not one that dream of it. Right, top 3. In number 3, the Camden caretaker himself, Robbie Chapman. 16 fights this year, won 2, drawn 2.
Yeah, he's an absolute menace, isn't he? He's the Camden caretaker.
Honestly, when you were leaving us them voice notes earlier this year, when you were in America, Oh, I'll laugh my head off.
I've never heard these messages.
I'll have to show you later.
But listen, he's a big, big danger man. And if you're not on it, Robbie's going to finish you. And will we put him, like I said, when we put him in there at number 3, obviously any of these 3 could have been number 1 we're putting in there. But do we class him as a journeyman, Robbie? I think he's a bit of a 50-50 because he pulls some good results out, doesn't he? And he's not like, when you look at the results on a week, if you see Robbie Chapman and a W at the side in it, it's becoming a bit of a habit at times, you know what I mean?
It's not a surprise.
It's not a surprise anymore because he's so good. But he's an absolute warrior. And yeah, we decided to put him in 3rd, didn't we? With 2 wins and 2 draws, didn't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we had to put him in the bronze medal position, didn't we, in the end?
I mean, like you're saying, the draws, we all say, don't we? We know what that really means. But, officially, it is a draw, not a victory. But, if he'd have got them draws into wins, that's 4 wins he'd have had this year.
And I reckon Robbie's going to come on next year, don't you?
I hope so. He wants to, I'm pretty sure. And it's just finding the time to probably go and see him. And he's down that there Londoner, I believe. But, yes, Robbie, keep in touch, mate. We'll get you on. And speaking of other people we want to get on the show, and you've actually met this one. Number 2, Jordan Granham.
Yeah.
24 fights. I mean, only one fewer than the Jakes we've talked about earlier. And Jordan won 3 of his fights this year, those 24. That's taking him to 167 in total.
Absolute. He's one of the best, isn't he?
He is.
Absolute one of the best. I mean, so underrated. And I think he needs to give himself a little bit more credit himself, to be quite honest, because he's an absolute genius at what he does. And obviously, like you said, I went down to see him in London a couple of months ago, and I says to him, "You're going to stop getting these wins, Jordan, because this phone call is going to start stopping. This phone's going to stop going again." And he says, "Mark, I'm just going there for my money. I don't go for the win." I says, "Yeah, but has your phone stopped going this year after them wins?" He says, "A little bit, yeah." He says, "But I just want to fight. I'm fine. I mean, I'm not going for the wins. I just know I know what I'm there to do." And what did you do, Jordan? You went and got a win, didn't you?
Oh dear.
In December. Well, in December.
Yeah, you got one recently. Yeah.
So even since I've last met him, he's got a win. So it just proves how good he is. And I know for a fact he's definitely coming on the show. He really wants to come on and open up to us. And I think now that I've met him, he's taking me down the Millionaire Road down London as well to show me the high life. We will definitely be going to see Jordan next year. But yeah, he got 3 wins this year, and he had 24 fights, didn't he, this year as well?
Yeah.
Just like, just one behind the top 3 we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, very busy guy, which is half the reason we've probably not got to meet him yet.
Oh, God, yeah. I think he might have a steady January, I think, after that win. So.
Yeah, definitely. Right then, drum roll for number 1 position. Victor Edaga. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, it had to be, mate.
Well, Victor, of the 18 fights he's had this year, he won 3 and he drawn 1.
Yeah.
And that's 110 total in fights.
And it's not just that either. I mean, if you look at the record before that, there's not many wins or draws on there from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he only got these wins only started in June as well this year, so they've all come in like a 6-month period.
And I think that's what gave him the edge to pick this title and the trophy, because, again, another stalwart will turn up anytime, anywhere with his bag and his gloves and just do his job, what he does. But since he's got in there with Derek, taking over him, Derek Wallace, he's obviously picked him up, gave him a bit of confidence that he needs, and to pick up 3 wins and a draw since June in a 6-month period takes a heck of a lot of doing. So I think out of those, like you said, we could have got it on another day. Robbie could have won this. It could have been Jordan. But I just think Victor just stood out for me this year. And I think he had to be the one. That's the way main man, mate, isn't it? He's the Journeyman Cave Fighter of the Year.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard for anybody to disagree with you on that one, mate. We've sent the trophy to Victor. He's had his photo with it, so I'll get that shared after this episode goes out. So, yeah, that brings us to the end of 2024. Lots of plans next year. I think we're going to do things a little bit differently and record a bit more in batches, because it is a bit of a struggle to keep up that fortnightly schedule. But regardless, you're going to get plenty of content next year. Like I said, we've got plans to make some trips in various parts of the country. So if you are listening to this before Christmas, I hope you have a very pleasant and merry one, and a happy New Year to everybody. And if you listen to this after Christmas, I hope you had a good one. So, anything to add, Mr. Shakespeare, before we leave and go and get a mulled wine?
No, I would just like to thank everyone for listening and all the support. It means the world to us. And have a great Christmas and New Year, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, mate, and I'll see you soon.
The Journeyman Cave is produced by James Proud. Music by Ryan Carrier. Special thanks to Rhythm Inc. Studios for hosting. All views expressed are of the guests only. The Journeyman Cave and host bear no responsibility for any opinions given. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter @The Journeyman Cave.